Hello, everyone. I am going to be reviewing the fourth song from Kerli's upcoming EP, Oversoul. This new song, which was released last week, is called The Art of Being Alone, and it is once again produced by Crash Cove. I've been reviewing every song because Kerli is one of my all-time favorite artists. I've been reviewing every song that she has been slowly releasing one by one, about one a month on this channel, so I will link all those reviews in the description along with reviews of all of Kerli's albums that I have reviewed. This song is a dedication to solitude, which is something that Kerli has openly, expressed, talked about exploring and honing, as she describes in this track. Because of the necessity of it to really create the kind of art that she wants to create, but also create that kind of space for her mental health and mental well-being. And as she and many others advocate, taking a certain period of time in everyone's lives to be focused on just yourself, which may sound a little selfish. It's not entirely completely, about only serving yourself, but it is about sometimes shutting out distraction and only being able to listen to very clearly your own being in essence and your own thoughts. And sometimes it does help to shut the noise out. It's a balance that's really tricky to strike because you can overdo it. And for some people, it is definitely not as beneficial as it might be for others. You've got extroverts and you've got introverts. Kerli is clearly an introvert. I am an introvert. Although I try and be an ambivert when I can, but I get very drained from being extroverted. So I like having my alone time. I like having space to myself to let hear myself think. Not being in loud, kind of crowded settings that's definitely where my introverted side kicks in for sure. Kerli has been living, kind of off the grid to a certain degree in Estonia, but then also been in Indonesia, traveling the world. Ever since she left LA and sort of the rat race there to sort of become an independent artist on a smaller independent label, she has been kind of living this for like a decade now. I think it was almost a decade ago that she left a major label and just, packed up and went back home and said, I'm just going to live in a cabin in the woods. And she has been perfecting, her existence in that kind of hermit kind of existence. And I really do, applaud her for her commitment to it. I think it's definitely something that not everyone obviously can achieve, but also maybe, unfortunately, has the resources to. And it's not for everyone. But it makes sense that Kerli would explore this in a song as a part of the path of Oversoul, which is her, from my understanding, as she's talking about it, the different sort of facets of self-improvement, self-growth, self-enlightenment. I'm the architect of my construction. I'm going in to rearrange the pieces. I'm a mechanism with no instruction, looking for the errors in my feelings. And I'll expose all defects, breaking down the damages. I'm fearless, as I'll patch up all the cracks. Don't mess with my process. I'ma become flawless. Verse 2, I'm the sculptor of my infrastructure, the molder of the mind searching for meaning. I'm the engineer of my disrupture, and I will destroy what's not worth keeping. And then we repeat. I'll master the craft of being on my own. I'll fix my heart. I'll perfect my soul. Everybody keep out while patiently I'll hone the art of being alone. Lots of metaphors to machinery and infrastructure and the allegory of the self, the inner self or the spiritual self, but the mental self as well, as it is attached to all of these things, being like a physical building or structure that needs tending to. You got to fix cracks. You got to fix cracks in the walls. You got to fix leaks in the pipes. These are things that you need to do. And as Kerli states, the best way to do that is often to take these sabbaticals to really kind of inwardly focus and ponder, meditate on all of, and let everything that is like kind of buried in the subconscious sort of come out to the fore, and the good, the bad, and the ugly, and be able to sort of slowly heal yourself. And for some, this can be a really difficult process because it's really hard for you to sort of shut Like, for example, for me with meditation, I have a really hard time shutting off a part of my brain that's always, I feel like it always feels like it's like flapping its wings really fast, like, some sort of fly or something. As That's how I kind of envision it. It's just it's always worrying away, and it has a very anxiety kind of color to it. I'm always kind of like worried about, losing myself in the meditation or not doing it properly, and it obstructs me really getting the roots in beneath of all the stuff in my subconscious that I want to, and also kind of this kind of more healing, like Zen feeling. And so I always feel like a little. It's something I'm working on. Meditation is not, there is no right or wrong way, and yet there is. Meditation is not something that you should think too hard about. But I also oftentimes feel like when I'm trying to meditate, I'm not really accomplishing anything but just sitting still and, focusing on maybe like one aspect of my body that's like potentially, because when you're very still, little things that you might not notice otherwise start to jump out, and they're usually physical. Like, oh, my back, it's usually my back. My back is bothering me. I hate sitting like this. Or, I'm not comfortable in this position with my feet. Or there's like a weird feeling tingling in my hand, and I get distracted by that, or it's like the breathing. I always notice the congestion in my nose way more when I'm trying to meditate, and it really is distracting for me getting beyond all of that. And so, meditation is tough, but it doesn't have to be meditation. It just, I think again, it's a balance. I do think that, humans do benefit from having social connections, and it also can be really good to be, outwardly focused so that you're not so insular, because sometimes you can just do nothing but dwell on negative thoughts, and it can get you very kind of in a depressive state. But it's all about balance. And so what I think Kerli is advocating here is for those who are busy all the time and never take this time, and they're struggling, they're suffering from stress. These are kinds of signs from the body that you need to slow down. You need to take some time away to yourself. You need to let your inner self kind of be focused more. And you need to be able to kind of do this healing. And again, Kerli, it suits her to be like this, but it doesn't suit everyone. But I think I'd like to find a balance. I don't know if I necessarily want to live completely by myself my entire life, but I definitely could see myself, and I have been to a certain degree, going through this sort of hermit solitary lifestyle. And I definitely would like to have a partner. But I definitely see myself sort of being in a solitary state with my other partner. It's sort of like we both like respect each other's solitude, and we don't infringe upon that. We know that it is necessary for introverts to be able to feel, energized and go throughout their lives. Sonically, I will say that at first I was perhaps not absolutely head over heels for the production. The choice, the almost dubstep, electronic production really drives home, the inorganic feel of the song. And perhaps I did want, for a song like this that's a little bit more about, like, when one thinks about being solitary, you either think of solitary confinement or you think of being out in nature. And perhaps for a song like this, I would have preferred to have some more natural elements, ambiance come through into the song, so that the sonic imagery is a little less metallic, like, or, inorganic kind of feel, and like machinery sounding, rather than organic forests and plants and, sun and sky. But I will say that the more I listen to it, the more it kind of sits, it kind of gets under my skin. And I do love the methodical kind of rhythm and pace of the song. With the production, it almost kind of reminds me of someone like slowly, methodically, working away at like a hammer and anvil, because there's almost a little bit of that metallic clang coming through. And it's at a very deliberate, methodical pace, which I think very much speaks to the sort of mentality of this kind of shadow work, or this kind of solitary meditative state, where you're doing your work either physically or internally or externally, and slowly but surely kind of chipping away, building the infrastructure. healing the infrastructure, patching up the cracks, honing your craft. And of course, for Kerli, a lot of this craft is her music, and that's how she creates her music. And that's what results us in this project. And so she's documenting her process, but it also is for mental well-being, for the spiritual, fulfillment, and for spiritual fulfillment. And it's how she wants to live her life. And I really, really, give her so much mad props and respect for, committing to the bit. Committing to the bit, she's not just cosplaying this kind of stuff. I mean, it's what it feels like, at least. This is her existence, and I definitely see it as very inspirational. Someone who also feels somewhat drawn to that kind of existence. But this is, sentiment wise, I think one of my favorites on the album so far, because I resonate so much with being, a solitary person. I always was kind of a solitary person. I was always introverted and introspective. But I will say sonically, it's not my favorite, but it's grown on me over time, and I see the vision. And the one other thing I do want to point out that I really love is when she sings, and I'll patch up the cracks. On the aisle, she lets her voice kind of elevate, and we get to really hear that trill-like vocal that we don't often get so much in her music today. I think that I talk about in some of her other tracks, she's very much in this hissy sort of like lower register kind of delivery that isn't very much a belt. And so it's nice when her voice rises above that sort of production and that sort of style of singing. So I appreciate those moments in the verses. So there's glimmers of old Kerli in there still. Kerli's always been Kerli, but her old style of singing and her older music. What are your thoughts on this track? We've got one more, and I believe it is called Oversoul, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I believe it'll probably come out based on the pattern she's been releasing every 4 to 5 weeks. So my guess is the end of May, early June. And at which point we will have all 5 songs, and then presumably we will finally get visuals at some point after that. I am so excited for the visuals. I think that'll really elevate a lot of these songs for me. A lot of these songs are screaming for visuals, and I cannot wait. So let me know your thoughts. Which are your favorites so far? Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful, blessed day. Peace, love, and light. Bye.